He sits at the edge of the playground, not because he's lonely, but because something special is happening inside him. The swings move gently in the background, like planets floating slowly. Voices go up and down. The world is noisy and busy. And he's listening, not to answer, but to get it. There's a whole world behind his quietness. It's an inner life full of watching, small habits, private tries, and big questions nobody asks him. People think being quiet means being gone. They judge how present someone is by how loud they are, how fast they talk, or how quickly they act when asked. But the quiet kid isn't empty. They're deep. They're like a pool of water. From the outside, being quiet looks like staying away. From the inside, it's careful growing. And that difference between how it looks and how it feels is where we start to get quietness wrong. Why does a kid choose to be quiet? Sometimes it's just how they are. Some kids are born with brains that like calm. They feel good in stillness. Other times, quietness grows to protect them. In homes where speaking up got them in trouble, or feelings weren't welcome. A young mind learned to calm itself by pulling back. In classrooms that reward fast answers and talking a lot, being quiet is seen as a problem, not a strength. But that's not the whole story. The quiet kid often has a mix. They want to connect with others in their own way, but are careful about how the world expects them to act. The quiet kid sees things others miss. While others rush to talk, they notice who's left out. The small moments of hurt. The way a teacher's smile changes when someone gets an answer wrong. Listening is their skill. They collect moments like little rocks. Later, those rocks turn into ideas, words, inventions, music, the stuff of creativity. Think of poets and scientists who started as watchers, not talkers. In quiet, they learned to notice small details. In quiet, they felt the world before moving. But quietness is fragile. It lives in a world that loves show-offs and quickness. The quiet kid often learns a hurtful lesson. You have to be loud to be liked. So they change. Some pretend, copying the loud behaviors they see around them. Pretending is tiring. It makes them feel colder inside. Others pull back even more, thinking the world will never slow down for them. What starts as a way to stay safe becomes a lifelong struggle between who they are and what others expect. There's a gentle truth here. Quiet kids are often seen as good, well-behaved, easy. Adults feel relaxed, but easy doesn't mean cared for. A kid who doesn't ask for attention might not get it. In schools and families, attention often goes to the loudest, not the neediest. The kid who shouts their needs gets help first. The kid who whispers waits. Those long waits add up. They're like small debts in the heart that grow over time, making them feel like they don't deserve much. Expecting less, asking for less, thinking their needs don't matter. This is where their mind turns inward. Quietness can be a safe place and a trap. The safe place is where thinking brings new ideas. The trap is where they start to hide themselves. The quiet kid begins to think their voice is dangerous. They practice the words they want to say, but then choose not to. They get good at saying sorry before they even speak. Sorry, I don't want to bother. Over time, saying sorry becomes who they are, a way to stay safe by thinking they're in the way. But there's power in that quiet. When quiet people finally talk, others listen. Their words are like rare treasures. They use them carefully, and because they're rare, people notice. But being noticed doesn't always mean being understood. Quiet people's words are often soft, meaningful, or slow. Today's conversations like quick, clever replies. When someone shares a slow, thoughtful idea, others might miss it. The quiet kid learns to make their words smaller to fit the group's speed. To change this, we could see quietness as something to value, not fix. Quietness is its own way of being involved, not lazy but patient. It stops quick judgments, it lets big ideas grow. Imagine a world where we value the slow talker as much as the fast one. Imagine meetings where we wait a few seconds to let quiet minds share something new. Our world, classrooms, offices, team talks, is built for speed, not depth. The quiet kid often lives in a world that doesn't match their natural way. There's another side to this. The pain of not fitting in. The quiet kid who believes others' judgments becomes hard on themselves. They compare themselves to the noise around them and feel they're not enough. They might think their deep thinking is a mistake. Their pause is a sign of something broken. In their teen years, as friends build who they are through posts, likes, and shout-outs online, the quiet teen feels out of place. The inner world they once loved now feels like a problem. Their hidden self quietly asks to be noticed. You can see me, but do you know what you're seeing? Sometimes the quiet kid grows into an adult who uses their own quietness. They work behind the scenes, take smaller roles, and keep their dreams small, not because they can't do more, but because they were never taught to take up space. But sometimes their inner world powers a different kind of leadership. A leader who listens first, stays patient, and makes room for the shy ones. The quiet person's ability to handle big ideas can be a huge help to any group that values it. How do we care for the quiet kid? First, accept them without expecting them to perform. Welcome their slow answers instead of talking for them. Ask questions that let them think, not feel judged. Give them jobs that need thinking, not showing off, like keeping track of ideas, organizing projects, or watching how groups work. These jobs don't make them less social. They honor their way and let them add something important. We also need to teach the quiet kid how to share their big inner world with others. This isn't about making them loud, it's about giving them tools. Practice before social events, give them ways to start talks, or teach them to say, "I'm thinking, give me a minute," as a normal part of talking. That 1-minute rule could change how we see thinking and speaking. There's a big lesson here. In a world that thinks fast means smart, quietness shows us balance. It reminds us that thinking isn't talking and listening isn't being silent. The quiet kid asks us to slow down, think, and notice. Their presence asks a bigger question. What does it mean to be truly there without taking over? How do we make a world that values depth over show? But there are real struggles. The quiet kid is more likely to be ignored in tests, skipped for leadership, or thought to be uninterested. The risks are big. Without help, they might believe they're invisible, that their voice isn't needed, a belief that can shape their whole life. At the heart of this is a quiet change waiting to happen. What if we rebuilt schools, workplaces, and families to lift up the quiet voice? What if the slow thinker got to speak first because they need it most? What if we assumed depth instead of drama? These aren't just ideas, they're real questions, and their answers shape lives. The kid under the tree, watching the swings and listening for meaning, can grow into an adult who sees their quietness as a gift, not a punishment. They can learn to share softly, find friends who like slow talks, and take up space without yelling. There's a truth that comes back like a wave. The quieter you are, the more room you make for others to be loud. But as the world gets louder, the quiet becomes more important. The question isn't how to make the quiet louder, it's how to make the world listen. That means rethinking what we value, how we pay attention, and how we build our shared spaces. If you're quiet, know this. Your silence isn't a problem. It's a flexible strength, protection, trap, or safe place, depending on how you use it. The way forward isn't to lose your quiet, but to guide it, letting it be both a safe spot and a tool, a harbor and a voice when needed. The quiet can teach the loud to listen, and the loud can teach the quiet to be seen. The bridge between them is practice, patience, and a willingness to change what we expect. Hold that thought. There's more to discover. How quietness shapes grown-up roles, how it connects to creativity and leadership, and the simple habits a quiet person can use to do well without changing who they are. But being the quiet one comes with a hidden struggle. He's often underestimated. Teachers skip him for leadership roles. Friends forget to invite him, thinking he'd rather stay home. In group talks, his ideas are ignored until someone louder says the same thing. And suddenly, it's great. It's a strange kind of invisibility, making you feel both there and not there at the same time. Still, that invisibility gives freedom. The quiet kid can move through life without the constant need to perform like others do. He watches without being watched, learns without pressure to prove himself. That's why so many quiet kids build rich inner worlds. They have space to think deeply, feel deeply, dream without interruption. But there's a problem. The same silence that protects him can cut him off. People might think his calm means he doesn't care, his shyness means he's stuck up, or his boundaries are walls. These mistakes hurt, especially when he wants to connect but doesn't know how to link his inner world to the noise outside. Many quiet kids carry a soft ache, a wish for someone to understand without them having to explain. There's a reason so many quiet kids grow into thinkers, writers, artists, and creators. Spending years watching the world instead of always joining in gives them time to really get it. They see how people act when they think no one's looking. They notice flaws in things others accept. They spot patterns before they're clear. And in their own way, they shape the world, not with noise but with care. But the quiet kid's path can be risky. Silence from fear, not choice, can lead to hiding themselves. If you're told your voice doesn't matter too many times, you might believe it. If you're ignored every time you try to speak, you might stop trying. Over time, the quiet kid might hide not just their voice but parts of who they are. The truth is, quietness isn't about being less, it's about being more watchful, more thoughtful, more careful. The quiet kid doesn't need to yell to make a difference or be the center of attention to change a room. Sometimes the strongest person in the room is the one who doesn't fight to be heard because they know real impact isn't about being loud, it's about being there. That might be the quiet kid's biggest gift. While others react, he understands. While others talk to fill the quiet, he saves his words until they matter. In a world full of noise, the one who can sit still and listen sees the most clearly. Sometimes the quiet kid isn't just watching the world, he's learning it. And one day, when the time is right, he'll speak. And the world will wish it had listened sooner.